I think I've always been extremely motivated by infinite returns. So he was like, how about, we just try out with our own space missions. So I was like, can we do that? Or is it like space restricted for, geniuses like Awais Bhaiya?
I'd imagine like a young company, and all of you are so young, coming to them and demonstrating that, hey, we can actually solve a gap that you have.
Everybody's working, there's high competition, and you should always go for a blue ocean. So you should always have startup ideas which ChatGPT cannot generate. If you want to reach the space, you need to push something down in order to go up. You can just use buoyancy so as to go up. On Republic Day, we sent India's flag to the edge of space, hired the smartest people in that field, brought them here, and they were like, okay, your job responsibility is to teach us. System that we had built, it could change the warfare, and we knew it. You can imagine something smaller than an eagle flying higher than an international flight.
Seems like an incredible technical achievement.
Yeah.
How much money did you spend to achieve this?
Oh.
Hey Faraaz, welcome to Lunch Break with Lightspeed. Very happy to host you here.
Thank you so much, Romit. I mean, I've been watching your podcast, These Lunch Breaks, since a long time, and it's just an honor to be here now.
You're the founder of a company called Kalam Labs. We had backed Kalam Labs back in 2021 when Kalam Labs was a platform teaching about space, and today it is actually doing missions with the Indian military. Yeah. Incredible journey, and I'm so excited to talk about that. And Faraz, before we begin, I do want to share this with the viewers who are watching it who may not know this about you and the company. Since the day we have backed you in 2021, what has absolutely stood out is how much resilience your team has shown to keep going and keep pursuing the singular mission of making space accessible to people. You started off as a platform that was enabling people to learn about space, and today you are doing missions with the Indian military. Obviously, it would have been an incredible journey, and one thing that's consistent that I've seen you guys do across these 3 years, 4 years since we've backed you is that you have just simply not given up. And that itself would be a fascinating thing for everybody to hear about, and I'm so excited to chat with you about that.
So I think the biggest factor for that has been my co-founder partners, Harshit and Sashakt. I fundamentally believe that a company is the expression of its founders. I mean, Brian Chesky could have just built Airbnb only. And Sam Altman, etc., he just embodies OpenAI in every particular sense. And I think me, Harshit and Sashak, we always have embodied Kalam Labs. And so we were trying to, just push it out, our vision. So initially back when we were in our college, BITS Pilani, then our idea was that, okay, there is space and I want to, just do something about it. I want to get into it. So that's where we started.
Why did you like space so much?
I think it's the limitlessness of it. I think I've always been extremely motivated by infinite returns. So I think the same reason I'm motivated for startup is the same reason I'm motivated for space.
I love that.
So we initially started with a learning platform for kids in space. It was really fun. It was like a multiplayer game metaverse in which kids could come in, explore the solar system and everything. We were working on that and everything. It was really good. I mean, we got into Y Combinator, Lightspeed backed us. There was extreme great growth, about 1 crore 2 CR in about 4 months. We were going great. And however, we were like, okay, but I want to do something more. I think it was primarily Harshit who were basically that, then why don't we? So he was like, how about, we just try out with our own space missions. So I was like, can we do that? Are we allowed to do that? Is it like space restricted for, geniuses like Awais Bhaiya and everyone who are my seniors? But then we got into it that, okay, we have to reach space, but I'm not going to make another startup of rockets or satellites, right? How do we do something different?
You did not want to make another
rockets, satellites.
Why is that? Because I would imagine that would have been the obvious answer if you want to do something about space.
Because back when I was a kid, my father gave me a book called Blue Ocean Strategy, in which basically it said that, red ocean is where everybody's working, there's high competition, and you should always go for a blue ocean.
Yeah, that's fair feedback and fair advice, yes.
So yeah, that's what I learned from him. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to make a blue ocean where I win by default. And basically because I believe that, even asteroid mining is not bold enough because it is an idea which I think so ChatGPT can also generate. So you should always have startup ideas which ChatGPT cannot generate. So the idea that if you want to reach the space or the edge of space, right now everybody thinks that the ideas might be to use a rocket or perhaps use a plane or something else like that, right? You need to push something down in order to go up, as simple as that. But the obvious answer was something different, and the answer was balloons. you can just use buoyancy so as to go up. So that's what we got obsessed with, that how about we use balloons in order to reach the edge of space, that's like around 100,000 plus feet, 30 kilometers, very edge. So how do we use balloons to do that? So that's where we started. At that time around, I think so Rocket Boys had also come out, and there was this Homi Baba's biography and all was being covered there, who also used to launch balloons in order to conduct experiments in the upper atmosphere. So we got obviously inspired more and more about that. So at the end, what we ended up doing is that, how about we just launch a space mission which stuns the world, and we ended up doing that.
What was the space mission?
So that basically was, how about we on Republic Day, we send India's flag to the edge of space, but not just that, we get like a Bollywood superstar Hrithik Roshan to market that. And we spend no money doing it. How do you do that, right? So that was the problem statement. So on the Republic Day, we were able to execute it out. We first chatted with them, Viacom Studios. We were like, here's the idea, this is what we are going to do. And they were like, you know what, if you can do that, sounds fun. I can get into the cross.
So you sent the Indian flag to the edge of space.
Yes.
Without any money. Incredible.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that that was almost a demonstration of technology of what you could achieve?
True.
Got it. So look, a lot of things to uncover here.
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
go one by one. First, tell us, why should the Indian military go to space? What's the benefit of doing this?
Actually, they were the ones who basically said that. So continuing on that story, now we are a startup who has just launched a flag up to the edge of space. Hrithik Roshan has set Kalam Labs out, and everybody is like, it's going viral everywhere. That has what's reached. But at that point, we were executing this mission with Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, right? And they used to conduct these edge of space missions almost daily, right? In order to do like this weather measurements, you have to do, map out the entire atmosphere. That was their objective. And however, when we did this balloon mission with them, this whole thing, one thing which happened was that balloon went up, we recorded the entire thing, and then it burst, and then it floated down with a parachute with a GPS sensor in it, and we were all so scared that it does not land on a lake or something, and the GPS sensor, etc., was also very expensive. So we were like, what happens if it does? And Taifar was like, yes, it can, or it might not also. That was it. So that's where we recognized a problem in this balloon-based edge of space missions. We were like, it's easy to go up, but how can we come back? So that is the basic problem statement. Initially, our ambitions were low. What we were like, how about we just help out Taifa, right? They are doing these edge of space balloon missions, conducting these weather measurements. How about we just build a UAV for them, which can carry their weather measurements, go up using a balloon, just come back and land it down so that they don't waste it every day. Like every meteorological station all over the country, all over the world, was conducting these edge of space balloon missions on a daily basis, attaching weather sensors which were costing 50,000-60,000 rupees at the least, right? And they were able to go up but not down.
So then you identified that problem statement that it will just help them save money and be more efficient.
Really.
Right? That's what you're working towards.
Exactly. And that's what the future should be like. I mean, it seemed like a waste, all of that. So, so that's the project we started to work upon. And now, again, we did not know anything about drones. The way we figured out how to learn is very different. What we did was that we just went off, hired the smartest people in that field, brought them here, and they were like, okay, your job responsibility is to teach us. And those who were like, they were like really into this field, they just went on doing their projects and teaching us. So we just worked with them, not on the company product, but just learned for about 6 odd months. And that's how we basically got the entire gist of aerospace, not just making a small drone, but like the entirety of it.
Got it.
So that's how we learned. And then we were like, you know what, let's do the mission now. So we went off to a place, we launched our balloon, it failed. Right, it failed miserably, and it failed so bad that police came in and was like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" We were like, "Yeah, we're doing this balloon mission." We're like, just get some permissions and everything, do everything. So they were like very supportive of us. So then we were like, "Okay, we're gonna do it again, and we're gonna do it good." And you know what? 26 January, we're going to achieve this mission. There were 3 odd weeks.
1 year from the last mission which you did.
Yes, 1 year from the last mission. Now, now we're going to do it. There were 3 odd weeks remaining. We cannot even properly fly a drone, but we were like, we'll bring it from stratosphere. And then I think so we worked crazy. We were like crazy. I mean, I have photos of that. I mean, I know that founders can work crazy, but our team members, they were like literally just sleeping on the runway. But at the end, on 26 Jan, we were able to achieve it. We attached a UAV to a balloon. We launched it up in Hyderabad after taking all due permissions. It started to go up, 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 and then 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 30 kilometers. It deployed, came back, hovered over our heads at heights higher than international flights. Just hovered silently, came back, autonomously landed.
So it's incredible. Like it seems like you were able to achieve your mission, your New Year's resolution,
Yes.
and finish it exactly in a year's time
Exactly.
from that Hrithik Roshan promo
Yeah, exactly.
of your, of the balloon mission that went to space. Seems like a challenging year, and
Yeah.
it seems like your team and you put out all stops to make that happen. What was the technical unlock?
So, like about the technical unlock, I want to just go deep into what exactly has been achieved here. As I told, the balloon is taking up the UAV 200,000 plus feet altitudes. That's like 3-4 times the height of international flights, 2 times the height of Rafale. You can literally see the edge of space. Now the issue, like the challenge for us was like if you're deploying a UAV there, you are facing temperatures of minus 70 degrees Celsius, right? You will be facing 200 plus kilometer per hour jet streams. That's very high, right? And above all, as everybody knows, the airplanes require air to fly. And at that altitude, it's like 1% of ground air pressure, right? So we had to like insanely build out stuff, custom airframes, custom firmwares, custom flight controllers, custom long range communication, everything in-house in order to make this mission happen. So so when it executed like perfectly, it was literally like, SpaceX rocket landing back, and the celebration also was similar to that. So yeah, basically we executed that, but the biggest thing was that we had to put a camera on it, right? We took out the camera. Until now, the VTX video transmission hadn't happened, and we connected the camera and we saw the footage for the first time. And I don't know, man. I mean, it changes the way you look at the world when you see that you can escape it. So that's what happened, and we got really enthused by it and everything. And then on 26 January 2025 to today, like mid-October, things have been so fast and rapid at Kalam Labs that I could, there's like weeks where decades
Stories
happen.
to be told about that.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned SpaceX, I'm curious. It seems like an incredible technical achievement.
Yeah.
How much money did you spend to achieve this?
Oh, that's something insane. I think I was calculating that, and from the entire aerospace journey that we did till today, now I mean everything included, we have spent $250,000, right?
That is incredible. How did you do that?
By being very conjuice, if you know the word, right? So that's something which it is. So yeah, I mean, I think so. If you're very good in technical aspects, you spend very less money.
Yeah. So okay, let's go back to the story. Now you have a balloon that not just goes up, but comes down exactly how you want it to.
Yeah.
It also has a camera attached to it, so it can sort of look at the world around it as it goes up and then as it comes down. How did the shift happen from maybe building this for research labs like TIFR to then making a jump to doing this for Indian military?
The biggest jump happened, as I said, was because I played too much Call of Duty as a child. So that was the biggest reason. That was just an ambition which excited me. I was obsessed about Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin's growth and everything. I was obsessed about Howard Hughes. So I mean, that's just something which I wanted to do. And obviously the others. So that's the biggest reason why it happened. But apart from that, the system that we had built, it could change the warfare, and we knew it, right? Because now you can have cheap aerial vehicles which can fly higher than Rafale, conduct kamikaze strikes, conduct surveillance, and just be undetectable for any particular radar just because they are so small in size. So that, I mean, if you can imagine something smaller than an eagle flying higher than an international flight, and perhaps even made with foam sometimes. So how can a radar detect it, right? And even if it can detect it, how will it shoot it down? And even if you do, how do you target it? Because it does not generate any thermal signature. Most of the times, its electric motors are also closed. It's just silently gliding. So how do you lock onto this target? So these were the insane technological growths which were made. And at that same time, Aero India had happened. So we went to Aero India. We saw those military vehicles. We talked to the military officials, specifically to the Army Design Bureau. And they were like, come to our headquarters. They called us to Chandi Mandir, right? That's near Chandigarh. So we went there, and I think so from then it was clear that Kalam Labs is a pure defense tech company. There was no doubt in our heads from then.
Whom did you interact with?
So this is a big military installation. There's lots of all the military officials there. I started to talk to them, and they were like, okay, hi. They were like obviously respectful. But once I told them that, hey, we are flying at 100,000 plus feet, that's around, they were like, they were like 30,000 meter altitude. So they were like, okay, 30,000 feet you mean? No, 30,000 meters. They're like, what? How can something be like this be achieved? And that's true, because nothing can reach this high, right? Even the U-2 spy planes and SR-71 were lower than this, right? So that's just changed everybody's minds, and they were like, you know what, come here, and they were like, this must be $1 million product, right? I was like, no, something which your regiment can also afford. They're like, insane. Now, can you come to Patiala tomorrow? And we just went there, talked, explained the product and everything. So then basically what happened was that they were like, you know what, this is insane and great, and this can be best suited for a high altitude region. So from there we were to the borders of the country, and I think they were like just completely enthused. They were like, you know what, we have to take it forward. And yeah, so basically that's what happened. We were like, this directly solves the problem of a surveillance, right? Like right now the UAVs that we are deploying, it's very tough to fly them in high altitude regions because of extreme high wind conditions, and the mountains are like 7,000 meter high, and even if you reach there is GPS jammers. But if you can reach 30,000 meters and you can go from there and conduct your surveillance, then you just beat all the targets, right? You are like 4 times the height of Mount Everest. You can survey Siachen, you can survey Mount Everest, you can do anything. So that was the basic thing which drove them. And I think at this point we need to start commending our forces, because we were unproven. Like we had literally done some prototypes, we were just kids, whatever. But they were like, you know what, just you guys build it, we're gonna take it, right? And you want whatever support you want to stay here and build it, you build it, whatever. So that really enthused us. Obviously, over the course of time, now we would be called by different regiments, we would be called by different headquarters and everything. And but this initial support which was given was something which helped us build the product.
So where is the product at today?
The product right now is getting ready for the demonstration in the first week of November.
Got it.
Yeah.
And what contracts do we have?
We right now, basically we have everything ranging upon this this contract that we did with Indochina LOC. We want to convert that into a final working contract. In a military, there are lots of steps that needs to be done. There's like first an acceptance of necessity. There's this financial administrators, IFA and all of that. So we have about 3 contracts at different stages onto that, and we expect them to be completed by the end of this year.
So Faraz, interesting update. You've done demonstrations near Indochina LOC as well. Talk a little bit about how has the Indian military responded to, I'd imagine like a young company, and all of you are so young, coming to them and demonstrating that, hey, we can actually solve a gap that you have. We can solve the need that India has. Do you think they've been open-minded about it? How has their posture changed to startups and new technologies which are developed in India?
So basically about this, Indian Army in the past 10 years has gone into a massive change, right? I mean, when initially we started to hear the words of Make in India and everything, there was a general public sentiment that these are just words, right? However, I would like to tell that it's like the focus of the government, of the military and everything. Their focus towards building up the ground-based realities of our Indian industry is insane. And they have a specific focus towards budding up the young startups as well. I mean, not only in a more metaphorical way, but they have specific rules that even if if a L1 vendor, like the one who has bid the lowest, is not a startup, then the L2 vendor, which if is a startup, will get an opportunity to apply again, all of those things. And the general sentiment amongst the officials is that we want to support the startups, we want to get into new technologies. In general sense, right? We are seeing extreme focus towards the domestic procurements. We are seeing extreme focus towards indigenization, and above all, we are seeing a deep sense of ambition amongst the armed forces for new ideas, for testing it out and just pushing it out there.
What an inspiring thought. I mean, it's actually such a great opportunity for the startup community to rise and make use of this tailwind that we have in the market. I want to come back to your technology. At the surface, it sounds very impressive, but also deceptively simple. It's a balloon that goes up, which has a UAV, which can do things like surveillance and can essentially be guided, right? Why could this not have been built before? What have you unlocked?
So when we first launched it using the balloon, blew into pieces. And the reason for, and then another launch, it failed. The basic reason for that is that it may seem simple to launch it from a balloon, but as I said before, that when you're launching it, it's basically Mars-like conditions you're launching, right? Very low temperatures, 1% air pressure. How do you make a plane fly there? How do you do that? So that is one big challenge which had to be unlocked. And so that's something which was very tough. We had to build our own custom airframes, we had to build firmwares, we had to build flight controllers. We required expertise from all different levels of our team in order to get together, and we required some very raw ambition for that as well, that we just gotta do it. And but above all, I think so the secret ingredient in making this happen, which others didn't had, was Harshit Awasthi. His vision of using the balloons and just being unapologetic about pursuing the weirdest dreams, right, is something which has made it possible.
Faraz, that's a good segue for me to at least ask this. It's always struck me how tight-knit the three of you as co-founders have been, right? And you have seen hard days as well. You started with something else, then you pivoted to this. You've had to build technical capabilities. You have had to build muscle on go-to-market, selling to a segment you had never sold to before. No doubt, some of the days would have felt hard. What has kept you going on those days?
I think what kept us going in primary sense was the same thing which excited me about space. That's the limitlessness and unbounded opportunity. At core, I am deeply motivated because the upside is so big. I mean, if somehow we do figure it all out, if somehow we do win, right, then the upside is that we not only change our lives, but we change the defense of the country we love. So that is an upside which keeps us just going, completely excited about it and onto it. And apart from that, we just love the hardness part of this, because the hardness is not toxic. There's no something we have to do with. It's like a technical aspect. Okay, how do we figure this out? This is the temperature, etc. Okay, this is not the approach. This is the approach. So it's an extremely intellectually challenging place to be. Apart from that, we get not only the Harshit, Sashad, but with the team that we are able to attract because of pursuing such hard goals, is a team which is deeply motivated about the mission, about the tech, building the tech behind it, and just being extremely, brilliant in their mind. So, and the way Kalam Labs operate is that we have taken up this hacker house area, about 7 BHK. We build there, fly there, and everything. So that's a place, and so it's just a life which we love to pursue. And the last 10 months, I think so, have made it worth it. From somewhere like we were like, okay, how do we even fly a drone, to now not only sending it up to 100,000 plus feet, but like actually being commended by the military, making some headway into actual deployments of it as well in the few months, perhaps. Let's hope it happens. I have heard a quotation which I would like to share. It's like, send the young man out to hunt. If he kills the elephant, his poverty ends. If the elephant kills him, his poverty ends.
So for us, that is Kalam Labs today. We have a product that is exciting, and we're in advanced stages to deploy that. What does Kalam Labs look, in your view, 5 years out?
So we like to say a line which is kind of fun to say. It's near space aerial dominance as a service. I think that's what Kalam Labs primarily does. That right now we have aerial systems in the troposphere, 5,000, 7,000 meters. We have aerial systems like the space systems, right, Upar, satellites and all. But this middle ground is kind of which is empty right now, and that's where Kalam Labs seeks to dominate. So primarily, how can we have aerial vehicles which are flying up the altitudes of up to 50,000 to 100,000 plus feet, conducting all different kinds of missions? It should not be just limited to surveillance, or kamikaze. It can have aerial targeting and all of those things. So that's the domain that we want to basically be neck deep into it. There are some projects which we are internally developing, right? That's the thing that we have our sights towards. And those are a supersonic UAV and a maneuverable stratospheric airship.
Both interesting products. Tell us maybe a little bit about the tech, because I know they're still under development, but whatever you can share.
So the supersonic UAV is built on this beautiful insight that there's ramjets, right? There's jet engines, there's ramjets. Now these ramjets are a beautiful thing. They're easier to build than jet engines. However, they have a knacky problem, which is that they only get ignited at high speeds, right? So, so what typically machines have to do is, like BrahMos or SR-71, etc., that they have to have a rocket engine or a jet engine and a ramjet engine in order to make something go supersonic, right? So, but here we had a no, we had a great advantage. Here we saw that we don't need that initial speed boost. Why? Because we are already at such high altitude, so we can just drop altitude, gain the speeds, and then just pump in the ramjets in, right? So that's something which we are working on. Basically, you deploy a UAV at that high altitude. You use this altitude drop in order to gain the speed, ignite the ramjet engine, and then you go supersonic, right? And I mean, obviously, it's in the proposed stages right now, but we have great ambitions, 600, 800 kilometer range, 2.5 Mach. That's what our initial calculations are showing up. Now, we have had some discussions of perhaps you might say, India's supersonic UAV is flying in the edge of space. You might see airships hovering around the oceans, conducting persistent surveillance made by Kalam Labs. Basically, we will be building systems which just change the dimensions of defense of any particular nation.
I love that. What a fantastic note to end this on. The fact that you guys are building not just for yourself, but for a cause greater than yourself that keeps you up at night, that keeps you going. And I hope for our country's sake that you do well. Thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thank you.